everyone. Welcome to our physical education class. I'll be your subject teacher, Emmy D. Magbanwa. Our lesson for today is about the basic first aid. I'm going to give you first our objective on our discussion today. Define the meaning of basic first aid. Identify different kinds of sports injuries and perform basic first aid appropriate for sport injuries. But before we're going to proceed with our discussion, I'm going to show you some activities for you to analyze what are the importance of the basic first aid. Now, for our activity, identify the following pictures as to what possible injuries will happen to the athletes. Ten seconds will be given to you to guess the pictures. And our first picture is, and your timer will start now. What is your answer? So the sport is swimming. And the common injuries, you have cramps. Next picture. Another 10 seconds for you to guess the answer. And ready. So your time is ended. Let's see and check your answer. The game is basketball. Correct. And one of the common injuries, fracture, sprain, and knee injuries. Do you get the correct answer? Very good. Next picture. Let's start your time. Okay. Let's see if you got the correct answer. The game is baseball, but if you answer softball, that will be checked. Okay, so baseball player could have strain, heat exhaustion because they were exposed under the heat of the sun. And for our next picture, start. Okay, time is up. Let's check. Correct. It's a taekwondo. And the common injuries are leg fracture, dislocation. Next picture we have. Okay, it's time again for you to guess the answer. Ready? The game is athletics. And the common injuries you have sprain and heat exhaustion. Okay guys, so these are all the different common sports injuries. And to name it, we have fracture, sprain, strain, knee injuries, heat exhaustion, and dislocation. These are all the different common sports injuries that an athletes or even the officiating officials could have during their event. And now, we're going to discuss about the basic first aid. Real-life experiences and challenges will be given relative to sports officiating to help you enhance your fitness, management skills, and positive behavior such as integrity, teamwork, discipline, sound judgment, and impartiality. Now, what is first aid? First aid is an immediate and temporary care given to a person who has been injured or suddenly taken ill that includes self-help and home care if medical assistance is not available or delayed. The objectives of first aid is to alleviate suffering, to prevent added or further injury or danger, and to prolong life. So now, we're going to discuss one by one the different or the common injury encountered by officiating officials and athletes. First, we have a sprain. A sprain is caused by torn fibers in a ligament. Swelling and bruising are some signs and symptoms. Strain is a twist, pull, or tear of a muscle or tendon, a cord of tissue connecting muscle to bone. It is an acute non-contact injury that results from overstretching or overcontraction. Next, so the first aid for strain and sprain, rest the injured person part until it's less painful. Ice. Wrap an ice pack or cold compress in a towel and place over the injured part immediately. Continue for not more than 20 minutes at a time, in 4 to 8 times a day. Compression support the injured part with an elastic compression bandage for at least 2 days. Heat exhaustion is a response to heat characterized by fatigue, weakness, and collapse due to inadequate intake of water to compensate for loss of fluids during sweating. The first aid, have the victim lie down with his or her feet elevated. Keep the victim cool. Give him or her electrolyte beverages to sip or make a salted drink. Monitor the victim for signs of shock. If the victim starts having seizures, protect him or her from any injury and give first aid for convulsions. If the victim loses consciousness, give first aid for unconsciousness. Knee injuries can result from a blow or twist to the knee, from improper landing after a jump, or from running too hard, too much, or without proper warm-up. First aid. Stop activity immediately. Rest the joint at first. Reduce pain. swelling, and internal bleeding with ice packs. Applied for 15 minutes every couple of hours. Bandage the knee firmly and extend the wrapping down the lower leg. Elevate the injured leg. Fractures is a break in the bone that can occur from either a quick, one-time injury to the bone or acute fracture, or from repeated stress to the bone over time or stress fracture. First aid. Apply ice to the site of the fracture. Keep the patient lying down and as still as possible. Cover to keep warm. If there is bleeding, place a clean cloth or hand over the wound and apply gentle pressure to stop the bleeding. Dislocation. When the two bones that come together to form a joint become separated, the joint is described as being dislocated. First aid. Don't delay medical care. Don't move the joint until you receive help. Put ice on the injured joint. Now, for our generalization, what we're going to do is to identify the following scramble letter. Are you ready? Very good. So let's start. Our first word. What do you think is the answer? The scrambled word is fracture. Next, we have strain. And the second one, we have knee injuries. Then, sprain. And last, we have dislocation. I hope you can still remember all these words that we have talked just a while ago. Okay, next, I'm going to give you a questions. And let's see how far did you understand our lesson about basic first aid. First question. Why should we learn basic first aid? What do you think is the answer? We need to learn basic first aid because knowledge of first aid promotes a healthy, secure, and instills confidence amongst people, their families, colleagues, and associates. Okay? Second question. How can you benefit your knowledge and skills in giving first aid? The best beneficial in giving first aid is that you could be able to save lives. Okay, next. Now, this is the most awaited part. This is the way wherein we're going to test your knowledge on the things that we have discussed about basic first aid. And for our evaluation, what we're going to do is to supply the missing word by choosing your answer on the word pool. And these are dislocation, heat exhaustion, sprain, fracture, strain, knee injuries, and salted treats. And these are our word pool. And our first question, what do you call the type of injury caused by torn fibers in a ligament? Okay, 10 seconds for you to answer the questions. Time is up. The answer is sprain. I hope you got the correct answer too. Second question. When giving first aid to heat exhaustion victim, it's better to give him or her electrolyte beverages to sip or make. Timer. Time is up. So the correct answer is, if you don't have any beverage electrolyte drinks at home, you can make a salted drinks. Next, what type of injury is characterized by fatigue, weakness, and collapse due to inadequate intake of water to compensate for loss of fluids during sweating? Exhaustion. Next question. When the two bones that come together to form a joint become separated, the joint is described as okay, it's time to check your answer. The answer is dislocation. Next question. What do you call is a break in the bone that can occur from a quick, one-time injury to the bone? See? Let's wait for the time to start. And now. Up. The correct answer is fracture. Good job, everyone. You made it. You got all correct answers. That's not the end of it. We still have one more activity to do. And that is your assignment. Let's do it. I know you can make it at home. What you're going to do is to look for a partner, choose among the given injuries like fracture, sprain, strain, dislocation, and knee injury. Then, perform what first aid should be given to a certain injury. Take a record of your work and submit it after. Is that okay? Very good. Thank you for listening and for watching our discussion today. I'm your teacher, Emmy D. Magbanwa.